You think burnout is a flaw in the system. You think overload means something broke. But your company promotes the busiest people. Your clients reward the fastest responders. Your income rises when your availability expands. The system rewards reliability under pressure. Your day starts reactive. Messages stack before you finish the first task. Meetings overlap with deliverables. Deadlines compress into each other. You adapt. You answer faster. You accept more responsibility. You solve problems before they escalate. You make yourself easier to depend on. Your responsiveness becomes expected. When something urgent appears, it lands on you. When a project stalls, you absorb it. When others hesitate, you move first. This feels like professional maturity. Your calendar fills weeks ahead. Your role expands without title changes. Your compensation increases enough to validate the load. Nothing appears broken. Revenue flows, projects ship, clients stay satisfied. The system runs smoothly because you compensate for friction. Each time you handle more, the organization recalibrates. Capacity expands, then gets consumed. What was temporary becomes permanent. Overload stops being an emergency. It becomes infrastructure. Once the system learns you can carry it, it rarely asks if you should. Most professionals believe overload is temporary. They see it as a season of growth. They assume stability increases once competence is proven. The story feels reasonable. Work hard now, become indispensable, gain leverage later. More income should create more freedom. More responsibility should create more control. More trust should create more flexibility. That is the trade you think you made. You believe rising pay reflects rising power. You believe being essential protects your position. You believe the system depends on you enough to negotiate. Busy equals valuable. Valuable equals secure. The equation feels stable. You assume pressure peaks before it declines. Once you prove yourself, urgency should slow. Once your role matures, chaos should reduce. Efficiency should lower intensity. You expect experience to create breathing room. You expect seniority to create discretion. You expect income growth to widen your choices. This belief keeps you compliant. It reframes exhaustion as progress. It reframes constant responsiveness as strategy. It reframes overload as investment in autonomy. You tell yourself this is temporary compression. If you absorb enough pressure now, you assume optionality expands later. But the system tracks output, not strain. It measures reliability, not cost. It rewards capacity, not recovery. Once your expanded capacity is recorded, it stops being seen as extra. It becomes expected. The belief is not irrational. It mirrors how incentives are structured. Organizations reward predictability. Predictability requires someone absorbing volatility. That someone becomes the most capable person available. When deadlines compress, you stretch. When priorities shift, you reorganize. When others stall, you accelerate. You reduce friction others create. From the company's view, you are operational insurance. From the client's view, you are continuity. From leadership's view, you are controlled risk. Controlled risk earns expansion. Higher pay follows higher reliability. Expanded scope follows consistent output. Trust follows visible endurance. The loop reinforces itself. You handle more complexity. Your compensation adjusts upward. Your reputation strengthens internally. Each increase feels earned. You gain psychological reward. You become the stabilizer in unstable moments. You become the reference point in meetings. You become the person people escalate to. That identity carries status. The system is responding logically. It routes pressure toward the most stable node. It centralizes execution where failure probability is lowest. It concentrates demand where resistance is minimal. Efficiency improves because you absorb variance. Because you execute under strain, the strain is categorized as sustainable. There is no visible malfunction. Revenue continues, projects close, compensation rises. Every measurable indicator says the model works. The smoother operations become, the more invisible your absorbed load becomes. Smooth systems hide the cost center. The model works until capacity becomes identity. At first, overload feels optional. You believe you could slow down if needed. You assume the intensity is temporary. But expectations compound quietly. Your fast replies become the standard response time. Your weekend availability becomes normal access. Your crisis management becomes built into planning. You are no longer supporting the system, you are stabilizing it. When you delay a response, tension appears. When you decline a task, urgency escalates. When you request space, resistance surfaces. Nothing explodes, but the temperature shifts. Meetings happen without you and feel different. Projects move slower, and your absence gets noted. You sense your value is tied to throughput. The system calibrated around your peak capacity. Your compensation rose to match expanded responsibility. Your spending rose to match expanded compensation. Your commitments rose to match expanded stability. Fixed expenses assume consistent performance. Professional identity assumes constant availability. Social expectations assume ongoing success. The load is no longer extra, it is embedded. This is the breakpoint. If you reduce output, income exposure intensifies. If income exposure intensifies, lifestyle pressure intensifies. If lifestyle pressure intensifies, risk tolerance shrinks. Flexibility contracts. The system continues operating smoothly. It operates smoothly because your margin disappeared. You're efficient, you're compensated, you are necessary. The smoother everything becomes, the harder it is to create room without disrupting what depends on you. Overload was never the malfunction, it was the stabilizer.